It is already that time of the year again for our season preview here on WK&T Sports. The 2019-2020 season is upon us. I'm Alex Heath here at WK&T Sports, and we decided to go ahead and meet with some of these coaches, get their thoughts on last season, both the good and the bad, how things went, and how they're going to make success happen here in the upcoming season. Here with Coach Valerie Waller of the Lady Lakers of Calloway County. And Coach, you guys had a solid season, winning 20-plus games. Every coach I know in this region, they want to get that 20-win mark and on up. But despite the fact you guys still fell short of even a regional tournament appearance, because you guys play in one of the toughest districts. Well, it is the toughest in the region, no question. One of the toughest districts in the state. And you guys you played in a lot of close games in the district. Come up real close to Marshall twice, and fell just short, in the district there against Marshall County. So, what are your overall thoughts on how the season went last year?
I think it's a motivating factor for our girls because we did come up short. We had a chance to win that game in the district tournament on a last-second shot. We got beat by Murray on a last-second shot in the regular season. And we beat Marshall at our place on a last-second shot, basically. Yeah, it was a tight district all year, and it takes a little while, to be honest, I think, to get over at the end of the season. But it also drives and motivates our kids for this year. Our district's always been tough. It's been that way since I know I was in high school, and I don't foresee that changing anytime in the near future. To be honest, out of the last 20 years, 17 out of the last 20 years, our district has won the region. So that tells you just how tough our district really is.
Absolutely. Your guys' success you had last year, I think, was absolutely led by your defense. You guys allowed roughly 38 points per game as a whole. Seems like every loss you did have is where the offense just couldn't find the basket in a given night. Every loss you had, I think you scored less than 45 points in a given game. So where's the focus on trying to get that offensive consistency up this season? We've
got to have a couple kids step up this year offensively. We graduated Bree Emery, who was, I believe, the best defender in our region as far as being able to stop kids. And because of her high intensity defensively, we played defense at a high level when she was on the floor. But we've got to be able to have at least 3 kids be able to support Charlie, and that's where we fell short last year. Charlie averaged 23 points a game, but we need to be able to score 50 points a game. So it's something that we've really worked hard at this offseason, and we have a couple young kids. Addison Hicks got a lot of minutes last year as a freshman, so I think that's going to help us this year too down the road. And then Ellie Carson, our point guard, coming in as a junior year, she's now got another year of experience under her belt. So we're going to rely really hard on them on the outside to be able to score some points for us.
Well, you mentioned her name. It's the thing I think everybody else in the region is waiting for her just to go away, because she's been such a dominant force in this region it seems like for years and years and years now. But obviously a shout out, congrats to her for signing with Murray State. Charlie Settle has been an absolute force here in the Region 1. How much more can she do with another year of experience and another year to prove what she's got here in Region 1?
Well, one of the things that, I've talked to Charlie about quite a bit this year is just decision making. I think you'll see her making better decisions. She always has at least 2 people on her at all times. So I feel like that you're going to see her make better decisions with the basketball when she gets triple team and double team, and that's going to open up the outside for us as well. But Charlie, it's hard for me to believe she's a senior, to be honest. I know everybody else is glad she is, but it's hard for me to believe that that's where she is in her career. But she's been working really hard in the offseason to get stronger physically, and that's going to help her as well. And last year I thought everybody was able to see what she can really do from the outside, but I really think her three-point shot has also improved quite a bit from last year.
You don't find a lot of girls at her height, at her age, that are able to really handle the ball well. They're not used to their size, being extremely coordinated like she is, and a very good jump shot. I think her overall skill set helps your team be well-rounded because she doesn't just use her size back in the paint. She can do a little bit of everything for you guys.
Yes, she can, and it makes a big difference. I mean, this year we should be able to put 5 kids on the floor that can handle the basketball. When your biggest kid is one of those and one of your best ball handlers, it makes a big difference for you.
You guys have some experience on the roster, bringing back a couple of starters, but you do have a ton of youth on this roster as well. You're going to have some young kids learn very quickly and step up very quickly for your team to have success this season.
Definitely. We have 2 returning starters. That's all we have coming back this year. And then we have a senior that got hurt. Ellie Jackson isn't going to be able to play this season. She hurt her ACL playing volleyball. So that's another hole that we have to fill on the inside. But this summer we really got some experience under our belt with some of our younger kids, and they're going to learn. I mean, we're going to have to be patient, and they're going to learn, and they're going to make mistakes as the season goes on. But the goal is that they're prepared by the end of the season when tournament time comes around.
With the young team you've had as far as off-season prep work goes, and working on the offensive consistency, were there Are you trying to focus more on maybe different types of plays to get better shots, or really just working on making the shots you do get?
A little bit of both. You know, we're going to have a different look. We're not going to be as big on the inside, but between losing some kids and then EJ getting hurt, it's going to change our look a little bit. So we're at times going to be a lot smaller and quicker, but we're going to be able to handle the basketball more than we have in the past. So it'll be a little different style for us offensively, but I think it'll be a positive in the long run for us. But it's going to take our kids a little bit getting used to as far as that goes, and some transition for them.
What do you see as the biggest obstacle for this team to be successful and hopefully have a chance to win the region this year?
I think just consistency. Yeah, you know, last year we were picked to be #1 in the region, and we've never really been in that position before, and our kids hadn't been in that position before. This year's a lot different because we're going to be younger and we're not picked to be #1. And we got beat in the district tournament last year, and all those things I think are motivating factors for our kids. And I know Charlie, as a senior, wants to go out on a strong note, and all of those things honestly kind of fall in our favor, I feel like, and going to help our team as far as for the future. So I think being consistent offensively, as we kind of already mentioned, is going to be a key. Defensively, we got to do what we did last year. And one other concerning thing would be rebounding. We're not going to be as big as we were last year, and we've got to be able to control the boards.
So with Charlie doing everything that she can, how do you, I guess, kind of teach and train your other girls to be like, yes, she's incredible and she can do everything as far as the skill set goes, but we can't rely on her to do everything for us?
You know, last year I felt like we a lot of times we're like people in the crowd and just watch her, you know, when she gets the basketball, and we can't do that. Our kids have got to be able to play off of her, and I think that's the key. And put her in situations where she can and make good decisions. But we had a tendency last year to just kind of stand and watch, and that's got to be a big thing that our kids improve upon this year.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on us. We hope best of luck in your upcoming season with the Lady Lakers.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
At Creative Interiors, we have one of the best mattress showrooms in this area. Experience the difference an adjustable base can make in the quality of your sleep, health, and overall lifestyle. Every Serta and Sutherland mattress, including coil beds, hybrids, and memory foam, can be used on an adjustable base and can be placed inside your existing bed frame. Get a queen power base with a memory foam mattress starting at $9.99. Get free delivery and 1 year no interest at Creative Interiors, Highway 45 north of Mayfield.
Here with Coach Brad Cleaver of the Calloway County Lakers. And Coach, you guys had a frustrating season last year with an 11-18 record, but you guys played in so many close games. If you'd made 3 extra shots here or 1 less turnover here, you could have easily flipped your record around. And you guys seem to have played so much better at the end of the year. If you'd gotten things figured out a little bit earlier, you might have had a little bit better finish. But give us some of your thoughts overall on last season.
Well, you mentioned, being a frustrating year, and, honestly, I'd have to disagree with that a little bit. Sure. Because, we come back, last year bringing 3 points back from a previous team, heavy loaded with seniors. And so we had a lot of inexperience, on the court. But as you said, we can, continue to put ourselves in a position to be able to win basketball games. Ended up making some noise in the 2A tournament as well. And we put ourselves in a position, as we were talking about earlier, 12 games we had, last year decided within, 5 or 6 points, which was good for us, and to have ourselves in a position to be able to compete in most every game we were in is a success for us. And you're right, we did get better as the season progressed, and that's all you can hope for as a coach, is to peak at the right time.
Sure. I mean, in terms of offense and defense, you guys were kind of in the middle of the pack on both sides of the ball this year. So how do you improve more of the consistency on both sides of the court this year?
Yeah, statistically, what we did, the past season, if you look at, comparing numbers, we shot a better field goal percentage than any of our other team that we played. We out-rebounded the team statistically over the season, and we shot a better field goal percentage from 3. And so you add those, statistics up, and that's a lot of times going to put you in a good position to compete. And I think a main reason why we were in so many games last year, when, originally I don't think we were expected to be in as many games as we were.
Being able to bring everybody back, did that allow you to focus on some maybe more minute and more special details in the off-season programs and things than having to try to teach a new system to a bunch of incoming freshmen and sophomores?
Oh, 100%. It takes a while to get to know your new coach. His philosophies may be different than what they've had in the past, and it was. And so we've now turned a corner here to start implementing execution and really focusing on taking this to the next level. And so that has been a blessing for us to have so many seniors back this year for sure.
Sure. You bring back everybody, but you look at your two main scorers last year averaged almost the same as far as points per game goes with Cade Butler and Chandler Steele. You got a guard and you've got a big, which is a nice flexibility of not having to rely either on just perimeter or just post players. So I think that helps bring you guys a nice balance to your offense coming back this year.
No, you're exactly right. We had Cade Mines, Cade Butler, and Chandler Steele all averaged right there at 13 points a game last year. Chandler averaged a double-double. Butler shot one of the highest percentages from three, and it has unlimited range. Cade Mines is very, very hard to keep Cade in front of you, and our players have gotten bigger, faster, and stronger, and that makes for a good combination when you add in the fact that now we have some experience under our belt. So we have some high expectations this year, no doubt.
Sure. Well, look at Chandler Steele inside. You could see it last year as he continued to grow and get bigger, get stronger. He became besides just being able to get weak side blocks because of his length, he became able to guard more. And got more comfortable with himself being a post defender. I expect it to continue to get better and better. He'll really be a big defensive force for you guys in the post this year.
Chandler's long, and Chandler can change a lot of shots, and so that's definitely going to be part of our scheme defensively. Is we're going to take advantage of those big long arms that we have there. So. Chandler's got an opportunity to make some impact, as well as some of our younger guys. You have Kai Franklin as well, who showed up really big for us in some big district games last year. And now you look at our district right now, I would say our district probably one of the toughest districts in the state this year. So, and that's we welcome that challenge, and it's going to be a exciting district to follow.
It's a rare, and you mentioned the challenge of the district, so you helped me lead where I wanted to go anyway. The next question is that a lot of times when you see a challenging district like it was being competitive last year, somebody has a big drop off. That wasn't really the case. All three schools kind of brought back a big chunk of what they do, so it really, I think, just further emphasizes the competitiveness in this district this year.
No, you're exactly right. It's going to be a dogfight in our district, and we know that. And like I said, that's what it's all about. I mean, if you love basketball and you love high-level competition, then the 4th district is going to be a fun district to watch.
Absolutely. What are some other areas you want to see this team continue to grow and improve on as this season goes?
I think when people look at Calloway County Lakers this year and see what their identity is, it's going to be that the intensity is second to none, and that we're an exciting ball club to watch. I mean, we want to get up and down, and we've got the ability to shoot the ball. Cade Butler has unlimited range. Cade Mize is a very exciting player as well, so you're going to see a faster pace than you've seen from us in the past. Yep.
We've seen you guys several times throughout the year last year. I really think I saw you guys improve more than most teams in the region, like even within a given season. If you got your team not just necessarily bought in, but kind of figured out the execution, how to play together more as the season goes on, and bringing everybody back into this year, you would think that they're only going to get better moving forward.
A lot of that just comes with experience, like with anything we do, with any new job or whatever we're working on. We're having to teach these kids about life as well, and it's a great life experience. A lot of these kids were thrown under the lights and thrown into right on stage, without a lot of experience. So I commend how they continue to fight and were determined to, hey, let's jump on here and let's just get better every game, and that was our goal last year, and we did that. Mm-hmm. So I'm proud overall of how we developed last year, and obviously it was a disappointment not to get to the regional tournament.
Sure.
But we have different plans this year on getting to the regional tournament.
Absolutely, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck on an upcoming season.
Appreciate it.
At First Kentucky, you'll find our bank and checking accounts provide everyday convenience, plus so much more. We have checking account options for everyone, from the technology lover to the interest builder, or those just getting started. Every account comes with standard checking features like no annual fee Visa check card, online banking, mobile services, and statement options. Our best checking account, Star Rewards, offers safety, savings, and extra benefits. It's simple and smart. Open your account at First Kentucky today.
We're here with Coach Ember Wright of the Lady Comets, Carlisle County. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
You guys had a solid season last year, 25-7, got a lot of wins in the region, played very well in region play. Give us some of your overall thoughts on how last season went for you guys.
I feel like we surprised a lot of people. I feel like even our fans didn't expect us to do that well after graduating, I guess, Elena Coffey 2 years ago. We really had to step up, and I think overall that they did that, and we were very successful. The girls, every year I have girls that want to work hard, and I think that just proved in the end to get us those wins.
Most of your success seemed to be led by your defense. You guys allowed less than 38 points per game as a whole. How do you think you got your team to buy into defense and be that successful over the course of the season?
Every year we harp on defense and how you don't have to be the best athlete to play defense. It just takes heart and hustle, and that if you create the defense will create our offense. And that's what we've stressed year in and year out, and I feel like that's why we're successful. I know some people probably think, well, look at who they played, that's why they held their opponents to that many. Sure. But again, I feel like just the attitude and effort, I mean, they always leave it on the floor and played with their hearts.
Well, if you have times where it's hard, especially at a high school level, to get kids to continually buy into defense, how do you keep your girls focused on it and keep that drive and passion in there on the defensive side?
It's a good question. I've talked to several people, several other coaches, and numbers is always a big thing for us. I mean, we were worried this summer. We didn't have very many girls for summer ball. Have 12 on our roster this year, so keeping girls out is a big thing for us. But I feel like the ones that are here, they're dedicated. They have that effort. They want to do it, and they want to please. And I feel like if I just set the tone that they're going to, I mean, and again, having won 9 districts, I mean, I feel like that brings to the table that the girls are like, oh, I want to continue the success.
Sure.
And just.
Well, you guys do lose your top 2 scorers from last year, 2 girls that have been multiple year starters for you who contribute in a lot of different ways. How do you try to manufacture some of those points with the younger roster this year?
Last year, we played 8 girls, 9 girls at times, so I have to hope that that experience that the other 5 or 6 girls got is going to help us. This year, I don't expect us to have one leading scorer that's consistent every game. I feel like we could have 5 different girls on a given night to lead us in scoring. So again, we work on shots a lot in practice. I stress to them anytime they can get in the gym and shoot on their own. But again, I feel like our offense is going to come through defense again. And I feel like our girls, like you said, they buy into it. They want to do good. They want to pressure the ball, and that's how we'll score this year as well.
Makes it a lot easier to get the easy buckets in transition if you can keep that focus on defensive side.
Oh yeah, and I think it fires them up too. I mean, they see it in me over there because I want us to press and I want us to do good, and I think that transition just carries over.
Well, with a younger team, and not a very thick roster, like you said, what type of things did you want to focus on in off-season work to get ready for this year?
We haven't had a lot of regular practices yet because of numbers, because of volleyball going on. The practices that we've had, though, like I said, we've worked on defense. We've worked on transition because we struggle at times to run a set play. But I think it's going to take time. I think the beginning of the year will be a struggle for us after losing our main 2 scorers. Sure. I think they're going to have to learn to play together and play the type of ball we want to play. But I think by Christmas, by All A, hopefully we'll put something together and be able to play together.
Yeah. All A brings an extra facet into your schedule that not all the schools in the region have to face. They're probably about a 50% clip or so. They're in that All A Classic. So how do you gear that as a coach, knowing that you kind of have this postseason style tournament in the middle of January? How does that affect the way you guys prepare and work through January?
I feel like that's like a mid-year type thing. It's a stepping stone. I feel like the girls know that we can either, after All A, we can either keep going forward or that's it for us. But I mean, All A is not it. Every year our goal is to win districts, being a small school. Yes, the All A is always a goal for us as well. Just this year with us losing those 2, we just hope to be competitive.
You with the younger rosters, I think there's a bigger potential for growth. So what are some of the areas you want to see this team grow in over the course of the year?
I think overall, I mean, yes, we want to win. That's that's a priority. But I want the girls just to learn the fundamentals. I know we have 1 senior this year, and I know having 3 freshmen and 1 8th grader on my roster, I mean, it's going to be a work in progress. I know we may not win districts this year, or we may not be as successful and win 20 games like we have in the past couple of years, but I want them to understand teamwork, and I want them to learn the value of hard work and dedication, and how being on a team means you're going to be there for each other and you're going to work hard and try your best. And I think with that, good things will happen. I know the middle school team last year, they weren't as successful as they wanted to. I think some of them were discouraged, but I just have to hope that I can encourage them and help get them to love the game of basketball.
Sure. when you have a senior that graduates, or girls that you see they're on their way out, what is maybe like one lesson you want them to try to learn from you, maybe as a coach, that maybe isn't basketball related, something that you want, maybe just a life lesson or so you want them to learn on their way out the door?
I think, hard work and dedication says a lot to me. I mean, this time of that we live in, it's hard to find people that want to go to work and want to be dedicated. And I feel like playing this sport like basketball, we practice every day. It's not, you get off every other day, or we only practice the day before a game. I feel like hard work and dedication is something that I want them to learn from me, because that's how I was brought up, and that's how I feel like if you want to be successful, you're going to have to be dependable, or you may not get a job.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck on the upcoming season. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Since the 1980s, Grover Tire has provided tire service to the community. But now they offer much more. In their brand new building, Grover Tire now offers oil changes, vehicle alignments, and light mechanic work on things such as brakes, shocks, wheel bearings, and more. Grover Tire promises quality service with all new state-of-the-art equipment. Bring yourself to Grover Tire, now serving many more of your automotive needs.
Hello again, everyone. Here with Coach Brian O'Neill of the Carlisle County Comets. And Coach, you've been doing this for a little while now. A lot of these other coaches will change schools or leave a region. It's like, you come to Carlisle County, Coach O'Neill's still here.
Yeah, this will be my 23rd year here as a head coach, and 24th year here at the school, and we're had some success early and kind of built on that, and been fortunate to be able to stay here this whole time.
Sure. You guys had another solid season last year, winning 18 games, another first district championship. Can't remember the last time you guys didn't win the district. It's been a long, long time.
Well, we actually had a 2-year drought there with my young kids, and we lost on the last second shot to Fulton County 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago Hickman County beat us on the last second shot, so we finally got back to the regional tournament.
Right. Well, give us some of your thoughts overall on last season. You guys played tough in a lot of the games you lost, came up short here, there, and if you missed shots, you might have got that 20-win mark. So give us some of your overall thoughts on last season.
Well, I thought last year, like you said, was a solid year. The one thing that, and we talked about with this year's team, is we beat teams that we should have beat, but we never beat a team that we shouldn't have. Sure. We didn't have that signature win last year. There were some of those 50-50 games that we won. Right. Teams on paper that we should have beat, we did. But that's one thing. We actually, one of my assistant coaches put together a graph for them to show the success or non-success against the teams that we've had in the region over the last 3 years with these seniors. So that's one of our goals this year. We want to get to 20 wins. We want to get that first district championship again. I feel like we have the team that can compete at the All-A level. Murray is going to be the favorite, and I think there's some other solid teams in there as well. Then at the regional level, after you got Marshall County and McCracken, and it's kind of wide open after that. I think Murray and Tillman and some of those teams will be there. So we want to compete at that level as well. So, that's some of our goals for this year.
You look at what your team does well, it seems like year after year, you guys seem to always get the shot you want. You don't end up taking a lot of bad shots. Decision making, I think, is something you really instill in your team to take good shots year after year.
And we like to play up tempo. And a lot of times when teams play up tempo, they take some bad shots. Sure. But I think our guys do take good shots for the most part. We have the ability to get to the free throw line, and that's
and make them.
Yes, we were over 70% again last year. That's our second year in a row. In our first scrimmage, we were 8 for 10 in the first half, so I still think it'll be a strength this year. Our goal this year is to get 75%, which is really high. But
well, nowadays anyway, it's really high.
But we want to be over 70% for sure. A lot of close games, that was the difference last year, so that's definitely a strength of ours.
Absolutely. With a team, you've got a very experienced roster coming back this year. You lost one starter in Trey Wilson, who, like I said, maybe been one of the most underappreciated players in the region last year. If he's 5 inches taller, would have been a dominant force. As a point guard, he's really undersized, but he was fearless at getting to the rim and helping lead that offense. Besides that, you bring back all your other impact players. How does that help you prepare for this upcoming season?
We do. We returned 4 starters. Of course, Trey was a 1,000-point scorer for us. A very good three-point shooter. And like you said, he attacked the rim and got to the free throw line, and he shot at a high percentage as well. But we got Reese Anderson and Davin McGee that have been starting since they were freshmen. We got Trace Hook, who started all last year and played a lot as a sophomore. We got Blake Elder, who's a junior now and is about 6'6". Blake started a little bit as a freshman and started all last year as a sophomore. So those guys have had a lot of experience. Then we got Chase Teasley and Clint Draper, or undersized post guys, but have been playing a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. And then a couple of sophomores that got some playing time last year. Garrett Hayden was really kind of our 6th or 7th man last year, and then Evan Oliver as well. So we got 8 guys coming back that have seen significant playing time.
You would think that bringing all that back has some high expectations of what this team can accomplish this year, but with all these guys being experienced, how does that change the way you prepare for this season? You're not having to teach as many new concepts and things. These guys have been here. They know what the system works. So what do you really focus on in preparation?
Trying to fine-tune some things. And me and the other coaches this year have kind of tried to get a variety of drills. You know, you get when you're younger, you do kind of the same ones over and over time.
Sure.
But this year we've kind of tried to go away from that, have different drills for different things like closing out. We try to find 4 or 5 different drills to work on closing out. And shell defense, we try to get 3 or 4 different varieties of that, because they get bored. They've been doing it for several years, but with that said, what we've been able to do this year a little bit different. Instead of putting in, when we put our plays in this year, we're not going back and putting the old ones in first. We're putting in new ones, because they know the old ones.
Right.
A lot of times when the ones that's your foundation of set of plays, you're having to start with those at the very beginning. But this year we're putting in some new stuff right off the bat, and then we can always sprinkle in the old stuff, because it's just a refresher for them. So that's one thing that we have changed this year, and hopefully it benefits us early in the year, because it seems like we struggle a little bit early in the year to score until we get our feet wet.
Get rolling. Yeah, sure. Also, with the preparation coming into this season, you guys have traditionally don't have as strong of a district as some of the other districts in the region. But like you said, you guys always do take care of business. You always play well against the teams that you're supposed to beat. But how do you get this team, especially with their experience, to step up and take that challenge of beating some of those tougher teams in the region?
Well, like I said, we put that chart together for them to kind of see, and some of them hung it up in their locker. Good. And so that's a good incentive to try to beat those teams like on paper that you're not supposed to. And as seniors this year, this is our last chance to prove it. We told you we had 8 seniors before we got on here, and 5 of them are going to play a lot, and the other 3 I have a chance to. But this is our last chance to prove that they can beat a Graves County or a Marshall County or a McCracken, and of course Mayfield has owned us the last 2 or 3 years with the players that they've had. So I think they kind of sense that, and we kind of seen it in the first couple of weeks of practice, a little sense of urgency, because this is it for them.
Sure. With you being here like you have been for the length of time, you've seen a lot of different coaching styles come through, both just how they do things, how they operate, how they prepare. Have you ever taken and maybe adapted, see some things like coaching styles that you like and how that maybe have influenced you a little bit, or you just kind of like, I know what works with my players and just kind of go through? A
little bit of both. When I first started, we were very hectic pace, and of course in this region you got to be able to execute down the stretch, especially when you get to the district and regional tournaments. So it took me a few years to do that, but you don't want to get caught in the same grind and mix it up a little bit. But the coaches around here are good, and they scout you, and you better be able to put new wrinkles in, whether it's new plays, new defenses, and things like that. Because if you do the same thing night in and night out, they're going to scout you to death, and you're not going to have success in the postseason.
Without those things being said, when you get into the meat of your schedule and regional play, how do you keep your team focused? Like you talk about these guys getting bored at times with the same over drills. It's a long season. When you've been a 2, 3, sometimes even a 4-year starter at a school, sometimes it's kind of hard to, it's the same old grind, it's the same old thing. So how do you keep your players focused and keep that drive alive?
Well, like I said, we try to mix up practice, but what I've started doing in the last few years is give them some days off in the middle of the week. And I know when I was younger, I thought days off was
what is that?
What is that? So we play a lot of Saturday games now, because the schedule the length of the season is shortened, and you can play up to 30 games. Yeah. So a lot of weeks you're playing 3 games a week, and a lot of times that's Tuesday, Friday, Saturday for us. So we've been giving our guys off Wednesday as soon as December hits, and that helps to keep them fresh, because when they come in for practice Thursday, they're ready to go. They've been able to mentally and physically refresh. I've been able to mentally refresh and get going again. So that's something 10 years ago I'd have thought you were crazy if you told me I was going to give my guys off Wednesday. But that gives them Wednesday off, it gives them Sunday off, and it's been able to keep them fresh during the season. And I feel like we've been playing better down the stretch, because that All-A in the middle of the season, you kind of get way up here, and then when it's over, you kind of have a drop. And so I think keeping them fresh like that has helped us in the postseason the last few years.
Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck on an upcoming season. Another exciting season of Region 1 basketball we're looking forward to.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out.
Mayfield True Value takes pride in being the largest hardware store in Mayfield, offering hardware, electrical, plumbing, lawn and garden, paint, hunting equipment, guns, ammo, and more. Mayfield True Value has treated lumber and building materials in stock and ready to load. See their new cabinet departments for backsplash, countertops, cabinets, and flooring. For the best shopping experience with a personal approach, it's Mayfield True Value. Proud to serve Mayfield, Graves County, and the surrounding area.
Here with Coach Brandon Fisher of the Lady Eagles of Graves County. And Coach, you're a new face here to Region 1, so give our viewers a little bit of a background of who you are and how you got to Graves County.
Well, I was in Region 1 with the boys at one time under Gus Gillespie at Marshall County. I was assistant coach there 7 years. Then I took the head girls job at Webster County in Region 2. Was there for 3 years. Had some decent success there. I felt like we built the program, so to speak. Won 3 straight district championships, won the region for the first time in 20 years, my second year there. Finished 29-4 last year, regional runner-up. And, it was a place where I think girls basketball had always had a pretty good tradition, and hopefully we added to that a little bit and made it a little bit better program.
Well, you helped me out. My next question I was going to go to, you did have some success in the 3-year run there of, continuing making district championship and regional tournament championship appearances and getting a win as well in a very short time frame. How did you take what you said was already kind of a successful program, continue to elevate it to that next level of success?
You got to give a credit to the girls. I felt like I had a good group, a tight-knit group, tough group, hard workers, in the gym a lot on their own, putting in time. You're only as good a coach as the players you got around you. So, we did some things maybe a little different. We tried to weight lift and change our bodies a little bit, improve our skill work. I think all that contributed to some success as well. But again, I think it comes down to your team and how hard they want to work and how much time they want to put in. And I was fortunate to be in a good place where I had good girls that wanted to put in the time and dedicate to it and get better.
This Graves County girls roster is very similar to the roster they had last year. Only 2 players missing off the roster, 1 senior from last year, and Sophie Gallo making the decision to not play basketball to focus more on the track side of things because we know what the track athlete she is.
Yes, she is. Phenomenal.
So you do bring back most of your guards. You've got a very experienced backcourt. Expectations have got to be high for the Lady Eagles this year.
I hope so. Being around them a short period of time, I think it's a good group. Like you said, very guard-oriented now without Sophie. Rachel Mathis, obviously probably one of the better guards in the region, will kind of head us up at the point guard and take care of the ball for us. But, we got a good senior group, and I think, again, they played together for years, and I think there'll be a group that is a tight-knit group, much like the one I came from at Webster, and I think they'll play hard. I think they'll defend. I think they'll do the little things right that can put them in position to maybe be one of the top, 3 or 4 teams in the region.
What do you see as the biggest challenge this team may face to overcome in your first year here and maybe making a regional championship run?
Well, I think anytime there's change as far as the coach goes, there's an adjustment period for me and also for them adjusting to me. So, I've never coached them a game yet. So there's going to be that period where they got to get used to playing for me and I got to get used to what they can do and how they play. So I think that's the biggest thing. It could be a slow start because, we're trying to put in a lot of new stuff. And anytime you try to change, it takes a while to do that. But I think for the most part, Coach Beth did a great job with them. We won't change a whole lot. So hopefully the transition will be easy because they've been very well coached the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, you had a very unusual situation where you actually coached against this team last year and actually got the win against them. So you kind of have an interesting angle of seeing and coaching against, strategically some of these players from the previous year. Now you're coaching for them. So do you think by coaching against them last year kind of gives you maybe it's an inside look at areas they need to improve on to further develop their game?
Well, and I won't tell you anything different than I tell the team. I think kind of what we talked about, what we did at Webster, I think we got to lift more, we got to run more, get our bodies a little bit better shape, and then skill work. I think you got to shoot the ball all the time, you got to dribble it all the time, pass it all the time, because no matter what offense you run, you got to be able to put the ball in the hole, you got to be able to not turn it over, take care of it. So I feel like if we can lift and continue to get in better condition throughout the year and then improve our skill level, I think that could be a big step in the right direction to improve in some areas that we need to improve in.
This team has had great success throughout the regular season, but the last 2 years, I think really came up with their goal where they thought they might have been a more talented team that we got beat by a team with less talent because they maybe just didn't execute or make the right decisions come tournament time. How do you want to see these returning guards understand it's like, look, it's on your shoulders to help carry this team to victory this year?
Well, hopefully it left a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth, getting beat by Marshall in the semis, which Marshall's no slouch at all. They're a very good team and well-coached team. But, sometimes you use that as motivation over the summer and in your preseason to work harder to not let that happen again. So hopefully they've used it like that to motivate them to put more time in and dedicate to getting better so that doesn't happen again. But, I think there's a lot of parity in the region. There's 3 or 4 teams that could do it, but hopefully, with some experience that we got coming back from a semifinal team, that maybe that will help us, get over the edge a little bit.
A lot of the other made teams in the region, you look at, District 4 has always puts out several very tough teams. Murray's won the region the last several years. Marshall's is going to be tough.
Calloway.
They're very big. Calloway has maybe the best overall player in the region on the girls' side with Charlie Settle. You guys not having Sophie Galloway, all these other teams are very big. So how are you going to try to work with this team and really defend these other teams in the region that are very big with their size?
Well, that's a good question. We're still, trying to work out some kinks and stuff on that. But, I think, I'm primarily a man-to-man guy, but we may have to do some different stuff and try to surround their posts a little bit and double down on them and make them kick it out. But here's the problem with that. They all got guards that can shoot it a little bit too. So I think Callaway presents tough matchups, obviously with Settle and the guards they got, and then Marshall with Lange inside. And then I know, P can shoot it. Case and Kiner, those guards are very good guards too. So it's going to be tough. We'll have to scout. We'll have to watch a lot of film and see if we can find maybe a weakness where we can, help off of and double down a little bit and take away their post.
Well, Coach, wish you the best luck on an upcoming season. Thanks for coming on with us.
Appreciate it, man. Enjoyed it.
Moe's & Bella's Frontier Firearms is this area's guns, ammo, and accessories headquarters. With decades of experience on the single-action circuit, Moe's & Bella are your perfect partners, whether you're a veteran rifleman or a first-time shooter looking for training. Frontier Firearms carries a constantly updated selection of defense pistols, rifles, ammunition, reloading supplies, and tactical accessories. They also have a state-of-the-art precision laser range on site. Moe's & Bella's Frontier Firearms, inside Mayfield's Fountain Square Plaza. They're your hometown gun shop.
We're here with Coach Frick, head coach of the Graves County Eagles. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex.
It's that time of year again. The season is already once upon us. It seemed like it was, we were still just finishing up the regional tournament maybe a month or so ago instead of half a year ago. And it's that time of year again. You guys once again won 20 games. It's just a pretty much guaranteed thing, it seems like, at this program. No matter who's coaching, that the history and the success continues to roll year after year after year. However, you guys maybe had your most challenging finish to the season with maybe one of the best games ever played in Region 1 with triple overtime game here where you lost to Mayfield in the district championship game and then came up just short in the regional tournament, the game you could have won. You made a couple extra shots, a few less turnovers here or there. So give us some of your overall thoughts on the season last year.
Yeah, we feel good about last year. Obviously it didn't end the way that we wanted it to end, but I felt like we did a lot of good things, and considering we had a lot of guys back and the tough schedule that we set forth, I thought we played very well. Kind of hit a stretch there in January when we got back from Christmas of some sickness and some injuries and health issues and all kinds of different things that we had to kind of fight through. But, at the end of the season, we put ourselves in a pretty good spot. And like you said, played one of the best games that may have ever been played in this building.
Sure.
And I thought our guys, we had a good game plan going into that game. And our guys executed it pretty well and made some really big plays to give us a chance to win, and just came up a little short and kind of put us in a bad spot heading into the regional tournament, and right there at the end of that game as well, just a few plays here or there. So obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to end, but we still feel good about the year that we had.
Sure. Well, that district championship game, there was a lot of people going into that game, the way you guys are playing coming into that, the way Mayfield was playing coming into that, they're thinking the winner of this game probably wins the regional tournament because you get that friendlier draw of winning the district instead of having to play a district championship. So you guys drew a very tough first round matchup because you didn't win that district championship game. If you flip those schedules, maybe it's you guys that win the region instead of Mayfield, because I don't think there was any doubt that you guys were 2 of the top 3 teams in the region last year.
Yeah, we were right there, but the region was tough. I mean, McCracken was state ranked, they're early in the season, and Mayfield had a tough game in Paducah, if I recall correct, where they were fortunate to win that game as well. So you never know. I mean, it's game by game, and we put ourselves in a position to win. We just, kind of fell a little short there.
Sure. Offensively wise, last year you guys averaged just under 70 points per game, a very good margin, and shot the ball well from the floor, especially from the 2-point range, over 50% from the floor from twos. The 3-point line was really streaky for you guys last year, and you graduate a lot of those shooters with experience. So how do you want to try to see the offense maybe evolve and morph this season?
Did you say 68 points a game? Did you ever think you'd hear that at Graves County?
Yeah, 68, just under 70, yeah.
I know we've got a reputation, but, the past 4 or 5 years we've been getting the ball up and down the floor and putting the ball in the basket. And the guys that we graduated were a big reason for that. And our big guy named Chris Vogt was also a big part of that as well. So we've had a lot of success, especially on the offensive end. And obviously, I don't know if our numbers will quite look like that this year based on the inexperience that we have on this year's basketball team, but that's the way we want to play. That's the way I want to coach. I know our fans like to see that type of style, and hopefully we'll get to a point this season where we're putting the ball in the hole like that once again.
Well, that's, I guess, the tough question you're kind of leading me into is you guys had not just roster turnover, maybe one of the most unprecedented roster turnovers in this program's history, because not only did you lose pretty much all of your starters for most of the season, but you lost multiple 3-year starters, guys who were both 2,000-point scorers, guys who led the backcourt on this team for several years. 87% of your scoring is gone. You got to work ahead of you to try to get some of these young guys, these experienced guys, to step up and make plays this season.
Thanks for reminding me of
You're welcome.
all that we lost. No, we did lose a great group. Guys, like you said, that played for 3 to 4 years. Ryan Mathis played 5 years in this program. Ever since I took over this program, I've had Ryan Mathis right by my side. Right. So obviously we do have a different look, and but we're excited about this year's team. Bringing a guy like Seth Thomas back, who gained some valuable experience last year and played big in some big games, and we look for him to have a big year for us, and he's going to have a big year. I think he's trying to take on a bigger leadership role within our program with our young guys right now, and the guys are really feeding off that. So we look for him to have a big year. We hope that he does. That would obviously make us a lot better basketball team, but we also have some other guys that are great athletes, that are multiple sport athletes, guys that have been really working hard so far here in the preseason, and I'm hoping maybe we can surprise some people.
Sure. With all of the roster turnover, you had to kind of focus on some different things. The last several years, you've been bringing back a lot of the same core where you could not have to worry about teaching these guys the system or these things that they've known for years now. So how did that change what your off-season program was like?
Well, we've had to slow some things down and do a lot of teaching. Last year we had the majority of our guys back, and we were kind of in mid-season form come December, and I don't think it's going to quite look like that this season. We, like I said, we're doing a lot of teaching in practice. We're just now starting to get our football guys back with us, and we're kind of excited to see what that's going to look like with what we've done so far. But with 18 guys in practice, 9 of the 18 have either been 8th graders or freshmen. Right. So we've been really young in practice. So we've had to really go back to the basics, spend a lot of time on fundamentals, a lot of time on player development, trying to get our guys ready. And hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we'll start making that jump, getting ourselves into season form.
With a younger team, I guess one of the things, a silver lining, if you want to say, you guys do have a big potential for growth as the season develops. So what are the areas, I guess, you want to see this team growing the most through the course of the season?
Yeah, I think leadership, is number one. Just getting that experience. Until you throw them out into game situations in front of a lot of fans, you don't know how guys are going to react. So, I keep telling people that I don't know what December is going to look like, and that's okay, because as long as I'm in charge of this program, we're only worried about March and making sure that we're the best that we can possibly be come tournament time, and that's the goal this year. Who's going to step up in big situations? Who are our clutch guys? I knew last year in the games who I wanted to get the ball to. Who's that going to be for us this year? Who's going to get the big rebound? Who's going to make the hustle plays? There's a lot of questions unanswered right now, but I feel like those are going to be answered pretty quick coming December with the schedule that we're playing.
Right. You guys have got a lot of guys that are going to be starting for you, let alone getting significant playing time, that were JV players, starters last year that maybe see a little bit of varsity minutes last year, but not a whole lot. So there's not a lot of gradual increase in the role they're going to have to play to make things happen for you guys this year. Kind of a trial by fire scenario for a lot of these young guys.
Absolutely, it is. And, you know, we had a challenging summer and trying to get these guys ready. But like I said, they've worked really hard here in the preseason. They had that little extra, you know, motivation and determination. A totally different mindset than what they've had in years past, and I think they're going to be ready to go come December 2nd.
All right. Thanks for coming on with the coach. I greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you, Alex.
Good luck on a good season.
Thank you.
When it comes to quality equipment that will last the test of time, Bush Hog stands out. Their full line of products include rotary cutters, landscaping and tillage equipment, hay tools, boom mowers, construction equipment, zero-turn and finishing mowers. So if you're looking for an investment and not an expense, Bush Hog will deliver dependability and value. Bush Hog has been serving American farmers and ranchers since 1951.
Bush Hog, available at H&R AgriPower of Mayfield.
Here with Coach Terry Birdsong of the Marshall County Marshals. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Appreciate it.
You guys had a challenging season last year. Didn't finish with that winning record, but you guys played in so many close games. I think you had 8 losses by 5 points or less last year. Those are kind of games, if you have 2 extra makes or maybe 1 less turnover here or there, those games turn around. You guys did make appearance in the regional tournament, lost a close game in the regional tournament as well, but overall, you guys were mostly young, bring back a good chunk of the roster into this year with high expectations for this season, but give us some of your thoughts on last season overall.
Well, last season was very challenging on the court, off the court. You know, we had a good nucleus of kids coming back, but you know, we lacked a point guard. You know, we had Jay Nemo played the point for us and did a fantastic job, but Jay's not necessarily a point guard, so I think his role is going to be much better for him this year with the addition of Zion Harmon. But you know, like you said, last year we lost 19 ball games, but we played a very, very, very challenging schedule. We went to San Francisco, we went to Washington D.C., we went to Memphis. We played probably 8 or 9 games that the typical Marshall team would not play or would not be on the schedule, thinking we would have Zion, and you know, that just didn't work out, for whatever reason. But you know, hopefully we've grown from it. Like you said, we lost a lot of close games. I think 13 of our losses were single digits, so we were right there. We lost 8 games, like you said, 5 points or less, and it really came down last year, I think, Alex, to the inability to get a big basket, anybody to get a big basket when we needed one. We only gave up 53 points a game with the schedule we played, so defensively we were pretty consistent all year. We had trouble with direct line drives and direct line passing, but other than that, you know, we were competitive in just about every game. I don't recall really a single game where, you know, you go in at halftime and think we're not in this. I mean, most games we were up at the half. But so just, you know, we've poised ourselves, we hope, for a great comeback. I mean, everyone was disappointed last year, but I've been doing this a long time, it's my 24th year, and you know, records, sometimes people put a lot of stock in records, and to me, it's what do you do at the end? You know, I've had regional championship teams that didn't win 20 games. You know, we battled through injuries, we battled through all this stuff, and we finished as regional champs with 18 or 19 wins, and then I've had some 30-team wins that won the region. So there's no real formula on that. It's when February and March rolls around, you know, have you played a tough schedule? Have you been battle tested? And do you have good leadership? And if you have those things, you got a shot when it counts.
If you're playing your best basketball in March, is really what it boils down to.
It is, and you know, there's a lot of other things that go in there. You want to keep your kids fresh. You know, you got to be selective on your days off, and you got to have a manageable schedule. I thought last year our schedule was not very manageable. We played a lot of back-to-back nights against tough opponents, and it seemed like within the region, you know, we the top 5 teams in the region, we just couldn't beat last year, and it seemed like every time we would get to one of those games, we were coming off 2 losses or frustrated, and I don't know, we just never could get any momentum going last year.
Well, you talked about the success you guys did have defensively. Even the more powerful offenses in the region last year that averaged close to 70 points per game usually struggled to break 60 against your team. And you guys had some length last year, and you bring back a lot of experience this year. So I foresee that defense even getting better in this year.
Well, we hope so. We're going to have to do a few things different. We learned some lessons last year. You know, we may play a little more zone this year than we have in the past, but you know, Bryce Flatt, Tyler Powell, Tyler Stokes, Jay Nemo, those 4 guys really were the bulk of our minutes last year. And then you throw Caden Driver and Brady Miller. Those two guys have been very impressive for us in the preseason. Chase Riley's another kid that played a lot last year. Dawson Smothers. We basically got, with the exception of one player, we got our entire team back. So we got a lot of pieces. It's just getting them to mesh and getting them on the same page. And you throw in a guy like Zion Harmon. Zion played probably half of our games with us this summer, and our kids are still learning to play with him a little bit, and the way he plays versus traditionally the way we played, and we're trying to mesh that together. But we made some progress. I think we're going to play a little faster and more up tempo this year, both offensively and defensively.
Well, you talked about Zion Harmon last year. You guys were hoping to have him last year. Things didn't go like you wanted to, but you do bring him in this year, and everyone knows the reputation he brings. But for some of the folks that maybe haven't seen him with their own eyes, give us an idea of the kind of player he is and what he brings to the table for your team.
Well, Zion's he's an elite player. He's an elite scorer. He's an elite passer, and that's the thing a lot of times that people don't realize or don't appreciate as much about his game is his ability to pass the ball, passing with either hand, going full speed, and of course he's very difficult to contain off the dribble, and he can really shoot the ball. He's got really good range. I mean, 20-25 feet range. The big thing with him, is just getting comfortable, putting him in a leadership position with our team and directing our other guys, and that's not easy to do sometimes. Last year not being able to play with them, and then coming in this summer and this year, and then us expecting him to kind of take over in some areas, and so that's been challenging. But when he's playing well and all of our kids are on the same page, we feel like on a given night we got a chance to beat anybody. We feel like he gives us that edge.
Absolutely. I think everybody, at least that I've talked to, seems to think you guys are the team to beat here in Region 1 this year. So there's a bit of a bullseye on your team's back, per se, as the team to knock off. So how do you keep your team focused and realize, look, we're going to get everybody's best shot this season?
Well, I think part of that, having coached at a few different schools, some schools you always have expectations. Sure. You have expectations from your fans, your community, no matter how good you are. But now when you have expectations for everyone else, it puts an extra burden if you allow it to be a burden. And we've chose with our kids to talk about it. I mean, our kids read social media and they see all the things that people say, and you just got to get them to understand that it's all opinions. It's not just because someone thinks you're good or doesn't think you're good, it's really irrelevant. I mean, you got to go out on the court every night. Our region's going to be tough again. I don't think it's going to be from top to bottom as good as it was last year, but we still have some really high-level teams at the top, and it's not going to be easy. Anybody that thinks it's easy is either hasn't played or hasn't coached, or it's been a long time since they did either. So we're excited, and we know that teams aren't just going to roll over and say, well, Marshall's here or Zion Harmon's here. I mean, they're going to battle us and they're going to try to beat us. And so our guys got to be ready. They got to appreciate that, and they got to embrace it. But at the same time, you got to guard that bullseye, because people are coming after you. But playing here at Marshall, our kids are used to that. But now it's again, when other people put it on you, it changes it.
Absolutely. One last thing, Coach, we'll get you out of here. You guys have a very tough district this year. A lot of times you have these roster turnover. A lot of schools. Callaway brings almost everybody back. So they're going to be better, and Murray has got a very established core with experience coming back as well. So your district's not going to be exactly easy this year at all.
Well, of my 23 years as a head coach, 22 years in this region, I've spent 14 of them. This will be number 15 in the 4th district. I think I saw not too long ago where the 4th district has had a team in the regional finals. I want to say I can't remember the exact amount, but it's a lot. So I mean, it's always a tough district, girls and boys, and it's going to be that way again this year. I think when you look at all the preseason rankings, the opinion of people is that us and Callaway and Murray are 3 of the top 4 teams in our region. So we got to embrace that, and we got to know that there's no easy games in our district, and there's 4 games during the regular season that we got to be really prepared for and ready.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it.
Wish you best luck on the upcoming season.
Thank you.
Got a big appetite? Head over to Snappy Tomato Pizza on Paris Road in Mayfield. Snappy Tomatoes all-you-can-eat buffet features a fresh salad bar, as well as pizza, pasta, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and dessert. On game day, don't forget the Beast. The Beast is the equivalent of 3 large pizzas. Perfect for your tailgating party with 24 large slices. Dine in, pick up, or delivery available.
Snappy Tomato Pizza.
Hello everyone, here with Coach Bradley Ninney, the coach of the Lady Cardinals of Mayfield. And Coach, I think you have had a very successful run thus far as a coach of the Lady Cardinals. As you guys continue to get better and better year after year, you see growth and continued success with your team from year to year despite high school turnover and everything else like that. So what do you think really led to your success this last year?
I think just a lot of work. We put in a system. Of course, it takes a while for girls to catch on to what we're trying to do, and then what it takes, to be able to do it. I think it's probably the main thing. They're not used to doing the things that we've asked them to do. And over the past year or two, we're really starting to see a little bit of growth in the maturity, the mindset, and I think that's been probably our biggest area that we've grown in the most, which has allowed us to have some of that success on the court.
But I think a lot of your success came from the defensive end. You guys really excelled defensively, allowed less than 38 points per game as a whole last year. I mean, do you help maybe seeing that success continue into this season?
Well, it's got to. Sure. And we've known that really, since I started here, that we were going to have to be very fundamental defensively and really get after it, because we are not overly athletic, overly large in size. I mean, we have to get after it defensively and make sure that keeps us in games and then leads to offense as well. And we've done a good job of that. Last year we did a really good job of that, especially the second half of the season. So that'll continue to have to be kind of the team that we are. We're going to have to get after people defensively and hold people in the high 30s, low 40s for us to compete.
Some players don't want to hear like we got to be go at it at defense. We got to talk about defense. But so how do you get your players to really buy into that? And like, look, if we want to be successful, we have got to buy in defensively.
Well, we just stress the fact that if we're going to win, if we're going to compete, this is what we're going to have to do. There's not another option right now with the skill set and the size that we have. We're going to have to play that way if you want to win. And we have got a good winning mindset. I feel like we've developed, and our girls want to win. Our girls want to compete. And we play an extremely hard schedule, especially this year. And they know that if they don't come out and defend, then we're going to struggle in a lot of games. So I think it's more just them having that mindset that we want to win, we want to compete, and then they know that the only way we're going to do that is to really get after people and defend well.
Sure. I mean, you guys had 3 seniors last year, not too many to lose as far as raw numbers go, but you do lose 2 of your primary ball handlers from last year. How does that change the way you try to prep in the offseason come into this year?
I don't know that it changes much as how we're going to prepare, but it does change probably how we're going to look on the floor. I mean, Looper started forever, it seems like, and Emerson as well, and Lindsay got so many steals, so many layups, and did so much for us, and Lakin was one of our best shooters and provided that toughness. And I tell you where we're really going to look a lot different is not having Rhodes defensively. As we've been watching film getting ready for this year, she really was outstanding on the defensive end. So that's going to be a big hole that we're going to have to try to fill this year. But we still got some experience coming back, but it's definitely going to look a little bit different than it's looked the past 2 or 3 years.
You do bring back your 2 leading scorers from last year, but I think maybe something that may help you guys is the fact you didn't have any one player score more than 10 points per game. You guys were very much find the best shot available, get a good shot that we want, and trust everybody on the floor can take and make a good shot.
Right, and that's kind of, that's what we stress all the time. We don't have a superstar. We're going to play together. We're going to find the open player, and that's who we're going to look for to get baskets. We're not going to try to focus on getting a single person so many shots or anything. Maybe Feltz on 3-point line obviously is going to be something we're going to key on, but yeah, we try to be as balanced as possible, and I think you're going to see that again this year. I think even with the girls that are coming in, a lot of them have the ability to get to that same 6, 8, 10 point range to keep us to where we stay at that balanced scoring, because that's what we want. Because if you rely too much on 1 or 2 players and something's off that night, you're going to struggle. So we try to keep it as balanced as possible, even coming off the bench, so that we feel like we've always got options on the floor.
Well, in some of the off-season prep work, did you find some particular players you think that maybe grew more than you thought they would, or maybe some players that are younger that are having a chance to step up that fans should look out for this year?
Yeah, I think, we're having to replace 3 starters. And we just kind of put it out there that this is an open competition, and let's see kind of who's ready to to step up and fill in these spots. Now we've got Sullivan and Thomas, who didn't start last year but played starter minutes.
Sure.
So they will likely step into 2 of those spots. So, you know, we still got 1 spot that we're competing for. And to be honest, the 4 or 5 girls that we're looking at, all 4 or really all 5 have really stepped their game up, and it's going to be tough for us to pick that 5th spot, but that's a good thing because that makes us deeper, which is one thing that we were a little bit worried about coming into this year. We feel like our starting 5 can be just as good as last year's starting 5, but obviously when you lose 3 that were so important last year and you have to replace them, it's just the bench play. That's where you're going to see it the most. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. But yeah, we got Maya Thomas as a senior. She's coming back this year, and she's going to be right there at it. And then we've got, I mentioned Haley Sullivan and Desiree Thomas, who played a lot last year. Haley Duke, Samantha Hurt, Kai Morris. You know, those are the perimeter players that we got looking for that spot. And then we got Adley Smith, who was an 8th grader last year that we brought up for this year, basically. We knew she wasn't going to play a lot last year, but we needed her to work behind Ellie as much as possible. So when we lost Ellie, we had somebody kind of ready to step into those shoes, and she's done an excellent job. So, you know, she's right there in the mix as well.
We talked about it a little bit before we got on about your schedule this year. You got a lot of road games, not a lot of games in the friendly confines of the Cardinal Dome here, especially early on. I think you only have 3 home games before the All-A tournament in mid-January. So do you see that as something maybe you intentionally did to challenge your team, or just trying to find a way to fill the schedule?
Well, honestly, some of it's just kind of how it works out. Sure. You know, when you get your schedule kind of going, you know, it's hard to get out of it. So it flips. You know, next year, obviously, it'll be the opposite. So it's kind of the way the schedule worked out, and working with the boys in Title IX, there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. It's not as easy as just, well, why don't you just play some more home games? You know, there's a lot.
It's a process.
There's a lot that goes into it. But on the other hand, we picked up some hard teams. I mean, our schedule is probably as tough as anybody in our areas, I think, and we did that on purpose because we're a team that likes to compete. I mean, we typically play better against the best competition, and our girls get up for it and love playing those. They don't back down. They're not afraid to play anybody. We added Marshall this year, kind of as a late pickup. Our girls wanted to play them, and they called, so we got them on the schedule. So part of that tough schedule is that's kind of what we like. You know, we like being on the road. We kind of like being the underdog. We come in and we just fight and give it everything we got and see how it falls. And a lot of times, at least last year, we came out on top. So, you know, this is a new year and it's going to be a different team, but we feel like we kind of have that mentality that we're going to approach it the same way.
All right, Coach, wish you the best of luck on an upcoming season. Look forward to always having a good round of basketball here in Region 1. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, sir.
Howdy, partner. It's time to buck up and dust up, and there's only one place this showdown ends. State Line Ranch and Home on 641 south of Murray. We have the largest selection of men's, women's, and children's boots, Wrangler, Cinch, and Cruel Girl jeans, all major brands of hats, buckles, bracelets, and rodeo busting gear from saddles to roping and more. We've got new management with the same family hospitality. State Line Ranch and Home, Western Kentucky's largest western store, the best deals and southern courtesy guaranteed.
Hello everyone, we're here with Coach Peyton Croft of the Mayfield Cardinals. Coach, you are one of the new faces on the block here to Region 1. You're just from a little bit further east, coming from Region 2. You moved a little bit further west here, Coach. So give us and our viewers a little bit of a background on who you are and how you got to be a Mayfield Cardinal coach.
So for the last 6 years, I've been the head coach at Trigg County. Before Trigg County, I was an assistant boys coach at Hopkinsville High School, and I was actually an assistant girls coach at Christian County High School. So definitely been around and been at different schools, and you know, my wife's family and my in-laws are from the Fancy Farm area in Graves County, and we got married actually in Fancy Farm, and so when the opportunity came open, you know, we saw it as a great chance for us to be able to move our 2 boys and family, you know, closer to family, and sure, and be a part of a great culture here at Mayfield.
Well, Coach, this team is from last year had so much roster turnover, had a very dominant performance in Coach Guy's last season here. You saw what this team was able to accomplish last year. A lot of that's gone, but you do bring back some really nice athletes from last year. Mayfield always has very good athletes that play multiple sports, from football to basketball and things. So how do you want to try to take advantage of what you do have in your first year?
You know, they say the big saying is tradition never graduates, and one thing at Mayfield, you know, the tradition is very special here. And as you said, we have a lot of athletes that play multiple sports, and our kids are competitors. They're going to work, they're going to compete, and they're going to bring it every day. And so for us, that's something very special for me to get to be a part of now. And I definitely look forward to the kids that are coming back. Those guys, are getting a unique opportunity that they may not have seen a year ago, being that we had 9 seniors.
Sure.
So that's exciting for them. It's exciting for me as a new start. So I think everybody's kind of excited, for what's to come.
And being a new coach, a new system you're trying to put in with these players, what was your biggest focus in the off season to get ready for the new season?
Yeah, probably even outside of even systems or anything, more so relationships. I'm a big believer in, the player first. And so in saying that, I think that 90% of what we do out here comes from a relationship built between a player and a coach, and building that trust and learning what kids are about, and then learning what I'm about and my expectations. And so we got to do a lot of that over the summer through playing games and workouts and different things, and it went really well. We had a great summer and really enjoyed being around the kids, and I'm missing a lot of them right now. Just being around them and spending time with them. Getting to see them at school is awesome, but I do look forward to having everybody on the day-to-day and really getting into that grind with everyone.
Sure. You come from Trigg County. You had a younger team the last couple of years at Trigg County that you had to try to grow and develop some of that youth. With the roster turnover here, but there is still some guys you're bringing back. So how does that change the way you adapt things, both as a new coach and as a little bit more experience had here than maybe what you had last year?
Sure. At Trigg last year, we started an 8th grade point guard and 2 freshman post players, and for me, that was just something that we never even thought about or looked at. We just played and put our head down and went to work. And so here, you've got some kids coming back that may not have the game experience that we would hope they have at this point, but we do have age experience, and so that maturity level, being able to be mature and being able to handle adverse situations, and something these kids, a lot of our kids right now are getting is a lot of varsity experience on that football field. So they're playing in big games and getting big moments thrown at them now, and that will help them in basketball as well.
Absolutely. This is a football-dominant history program here at Mayfield High School, and you're stepping into a program where you get to benefit off of all these athletes. Like you said, while they're not on the basketball floor, they're still being tested in an athletic environment with football.
Sure.
So how do you see that affect, being ready early on game one? Like you said, maybe challenges X and O's wise, these guys being ready to go.
Yeah, and that's something that's going to have to come, as far as X's and O's, as time goes along throughout our season. We'll start putting more and more in, and so forth. Kids will get more relaxed and accustomed to what we're looking for. But right now, I'm getting to work with a guy as a football coach, and Coach Morris, that's second to none. He's outstanding. The way he coaches our kids, the way he treats our kids, the way he prepares our kids, his staff as well. He's got an outstanding staff with him. So those guys are getting everything that I could hope that they'd be getting right now. So I know whenever they come, that transition is going to happen a lot quicker, just because they're disciplined. They understand what game preparation is. They understand what working hard in practice every day is, and competing at a high level. So that's all things that are going to be taken care of ahead of time, to where when they do get to us, you get to start concentrating a little more on the X and O stuff to maybe help that transition be a little quicker for us.
Sure. What do you see the biggest challenge this team faces in getting to the goals at the end of the season you want them to get to?
Honestly, probably just experience, and that only comes with games.
Sure.
The only way you get game experience is by
playing the game. Yeah.
And so that honestly is about it. I don't question anything with our kids' effort and intensity and will to win. Like, our guys are, as I've said about 3 times, they're competitors, and they're going to work. And so, right now, even the kids that I've got right now in practice, they're bringing it every day. And so that's something that I've enjoyed, and something that I really look forward to. So once our kids get experience and they start getting comfortable in their role, then I really look for this group to take off and start excelling and doing great things.
This Mayfield community loves their Mayfield Cardinals. Have you kind of seen that already in your short time of being here, how passionate they are about their Mayfield sports?
Yeah, I mean, that's, as I've said to so many people, like the 3 big words that are in front of our school building right now is pride, tradition, and excellence. And not only do our administrators and our kids and students in school believe in that, but this community believes in that. And it's amazing on a Friday night when you go and you look at the size of the crowd that's there supporting these kids, both at home and on the road.
Right.
And you got 1 million people asking, are you excited about basketball? Look forward to watching games. Look forward to being at the games. And that, man, I can't tell you what that means to me as a coach, what it means to our kids to be supported like that.
Right.
And, it brings another level of excitement just by how passionate that our fan base is. And they want to win, and I want to win. And so, it's just time to make it happen.
One last thing, we'll get you out of here, Coach. Region 1 has this thing for smaller schools with the All-A tournament. It's a different factor because it's a postseason style atmosphere and tournament that happens in the almost kind of middle of your meat of your regional schedule in January. How does that change the way you kind of work through the month, kind of having that postseason atmosphere right there in the middle of January?
Yeah, for me, you're talking about putting things in and getting ready, and when do you expect your kids to really be in basketball shape as opposed to football shape, and all of that. I think that All-A time is, really a time when you start to see our team probably turn a corner, and start really figuring some things out. So for me, I'm excited to be a part of it. I know at Trigg last year we had 4 students too many to be in the All-A, so we were in the 2A, and we got to experience that a little last year with a middle of the year type tournament. So for me, it's something I'm very excited to be a part of, and I know that our kids love that tournament as well, and it's played right here on our home floor. So you can't ask for a whole lot more, and we're excited for it.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck on an upcoming season.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
Creating comfort one home at a time. Call the folks at James Smith Heating and Cooling for all of your heating and cooling needs.
Hello again, folks. We're here with Coach Tom Faust, to make sure I emphasize that, with the Murray Tigers. And Coach, it's not often we see a coaching change that stays within the family. Sometimes you see father and son occasionally, but you got brother to brother. And you talked to me a little bit before we got started here about how you guys kind of molded together one giant mind to create the success that could continue the success.
For better or worse.
Yeah, right, sure. That the Lady Tigers have had. So, we got a chance to meet Wyatt for a couple of seasons. Now here we are with you. So give us an idea of kind of your background and how you got to Murray to start with.
All right. I had worked just a bunch of odd-end jobs I was kind of unhappy with in Muhlenberg County, and Wyatt was always somebody I would complain to, and he was coach. He just started coaching, and so he's like, "Why don't you try to get into it?" And it just so happened a freshman coaching job in Muhlenberg County opened up. I met with their coach Mike Harper there, and he gave me a chance as a freshman coach. I ended up staying there for 4 years. We won region there, got to play at the state tournament at Diddle, and then Wyatt was with the boys as an assistant at Catholic, and I had just taken a Catholic assistant with the girls. So we were almost at the same school. That's why a lot of people thought we were like a package deal when we came here. So I was at Owensboro Catholic for about a cup of coffee, and then he got this job, and he called me and asked if I'd come up here and help him. And I told him no about the first 4 times, but then he finally got me. I was like, this is I knew the talent that was here, and the opportunity that we would have to get to coach together, and how special it could be, and we may never get it again, so I couldn't pass it up. So
I definitely, and let's be real about things. To say Murray has been successful here in Region 1 the last few years would be a grandstanding understatement. I mean, you guys did not lose a region game last season. Or the year before. Forget, just the back-to-back region championships, which is a huge success to say the least, but not to lose a single game in a tough girls region with a lot of successful programs.
This is one of the tougher districts, like, team per team, and especially being a 3-team district, it is so hard to get out of this thing. And many times as you see each other in local tournaments and everything, and these kids have been playing against each other for so long, the familiarity there's so much. It's hard to repeat this thing, and I mean that is just a testament to our girls. I mean, it's me and Wyatt did what we could, but those girls had to carry the load, and they did. I mean, running away. So
doesn't get a whole lot easier this year in District 4.
No,
and I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with the fact that 3 of the top 4 teams, for sure 3 of the top 5 teams in the region on the girls' side, sit here in District 4. And that was the same way last year, and probably the year before that, and the year before that. It seems like the way forever. So. That being said, you guys know coming into this year that one of these really good teams in District 4 is not going to make the regional tournament. So how do you keep your girls focused to make sure that happens?
Well, and I've been saying it since I got the job, and I kind of knew where we were at, that people were going to underestimate us more so than even last year.
Sure.
Last year we were underdogs in most of the region games, and especially in the district, and I knew going in it'd be more the same, but I knew what we had here. And I knew it's like last year, I mean, either we could not make it out of the district, or we could win the region.
Right.
And it's the same thing this year, I think, as far as like where the talent level is for everybody. So I think we're capable of a whole lot.
Well, I think last year you guys, we talked about before we came on here as well, was that you guys may not have been the most talented team in the region last year. I think a lot of people would say that you weren't the most talented team, but you guys executed so well. You guys devised a game plan. It seemed like on a game-to-game basis it was just a good strategy, and your players executed that to near flawless, as it seems like every single time out.
And as much as I don't like to give too much credit to Wyatt, that kid works his tail off, and it's contagious. It was contagious to all of our kids that were here. It was contagious to me as an assistant, and like I said, that we lived together, and we would just sit there and watch film after film after film. We would relay that stuff to the girls, and they had to put in as much work as we did. It's not like we were, like I said, they had to carry the load. It was all on them, but it was all about the preparation, and like it showed up there.
Well, you guys have turned out some very strong talent out of this program. You look at. You got 3 girls that are currently playing at Murray State University, just down the road.
Fun to watch them, yeah.
So you're seeing the success they have, and kind of getting the extra joy of getting to play for their former coach, and who was the coach here at Murray High, now at Murray State.
Special situation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, continue to lose some talent, but you do bring back some experience. You've got, I think, a very good defensive player, and Angela Gearhart. I think that would be that most guards don't want to have anything to do with when she's on the floor.
It's a long night when with Angie on you.
So how do you guys want to continue to be successful defensively, bringing a player like that back, but also try to find some more points on offense?
Yeah, well, and obviously last year depth was a question for us, and again going in, you're losing 2 starters. Depth again will be a question. Now, if I could just turn Angela loose, and even some of our others really good defenders that we have, if I could just turn them loose nonstop, we'd be, get some games running away and get some higher, scoring games. We've got to kind of sit back and guard in the half court a little bit more. And it's no secret, we did it last year. It'll, have to be our MO again. We're going to make teams have long possessions and make you take tough shots.
Right.
And that's how we have to do it. And then we can play a little faster on offense. So that's kind of where our heads are at right now.
Right. Well, you guys, do have some inside presence. Calloway Carver's experience has been around for a while, and she knows how to play the system, especially playing for you and your brother both now. But there is not just talent, but there is some size in District 4. You've got maybe the best player in the entire region sitting just down the road at Calloway County High School, and Charlie Settle. It's going to be a challenge to deal with. And Marshall County has got some absolute size as well. So how do you guys try to approach maybe being the most undersized team in a very tough district?
Well, and honestly, we have been for quite a while, even with Burpo when she was our 5.
Right.
And we had Parker Greer would guard the other team's biggest players. So we had to get crafty the way we bring in, help side defenders and stuff like that, doubling in certain spots, and have to get unorthodox in the way we, double, especially in the post. So it'd be, again, this year, it's kind of trial by fire early on and see how what works best for us. But we have a few things and try to counterbalance that size.
Sure. Don't want to try to steal your strategies. I'm just kind of curious on general things there. Yeah. There's also the factor of All-A that plays in here in this region, the All-A tournament. That is kind of a unique thing that not all schools deal with. A lot of the smaller schools here don't, but some of your Callaway doesn't play in it, Marshall doesn't play in it, Graves doesn't play in it. Some of your better teams in the district don't take part of that. So do you see that more as a challenge your team has to kind of have almost 2 postseason there? Do you look forward to that challenge this season?
Yeah, it's this was, like I said, my first ever place being at an All-A school. So it was my first, kind of that mid-season high of a postseason,
right.
And then you're kind of back to regular season games, and then here comes the district and regions again. But I think it gives the girls, there's no slack off time.
Right.
We know we have got to prepare, so we're playing in big tournaments and big games all year long.
Sure.
So I think it keeps our foot on the gas and doesn't really give us time to let up.
Coach, one last thing, we'll get you out of here. Despite the success last year and the things you guys have lost, there's still that kind of bullseye on the back of, hey, somebody needs to beat this team. maybe it is a different coach, maybe there are some different players, but there's still that run of success over and over again. So how do you, as a coach here now and with the players you have, how do you keep you guys focused and realize, look, we're going to get everybody's best shot night after night because of the success we've had?
Well, number one, this year is more so, like I said, where it's so open. I am very honest with our kids about where other people think we're at. I mean, I got a bulletin board full of stuff down there, so
sure.
All the newspapers keep, ranking us low, so we keep filling it up down there. And like I said, we just want to keep proving everybody wrong, and we're still Murray until somebody proves otherwise.
I like it. I like the attitude, Coach. Wish you the best luck on the upcoming season. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Appreciate it.
Maya's Music is Murray's one-stop music center, featuring name-brand musical instruments and stereo gear. Maya's repair and teaching departments are the area's best.
I'm Melanie. Come to Maya's Music for lessons in piano, guitar, voice, bass, and music theory.
A reputation of honesty makes Maya's Murray's trusted music store.
Hi, I'm Maya, and I approve this message. Come to the store with my name on the door.
We're here with Coach De'Ara Curtis of the Murray Tigers. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Oh yeah, glad to be here.
And Coach, you guys had a very good season last year, and you guys won a lot of tough games. A lot of teams seemed like they fell short in a lot of tough games. You guys seem to win some of those close and challenging games here in a very tough District 4. And to be honest, it probably gets harder this year, which is a crazy thing to think about as it was hard enough last year. So give us some of your thoughts on overall in the season last year.
Yeah, I think we made some strides at becoming a really good team and program overall. I was happy with the outcome. I wish we could have played a little bit better against McCracken in the regional tournament, got a chance to play in the regional championship game because that was one of our goals. Sure. You know, but we played well. We had a lot of senior leadership last year, and we got a lot of guys coming back this year. So I felt like last year was really good for us moving forward as a program.
The 6 losses you guys had in the region last year, 5 were against the top 3 teams in the region. So you guys, did a good job of beating the teams you were supposed to, and played all those other. You played your McCracken, your Mayfield, and your Graves counties. You played them all really close. You never got blown out by anybody. You guys played them really well last season.
Yeah, that was one of our goals to beat the team that you're supposed to beat, and then play well against the guys that are at the upper tier of the league, and that's where we felt like we were. And we ended up being there at the end of the season, proving that we were one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the region. Graves County, all those guys had really veteran teams last year, and we played them really close in here. At
2-point game, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really close game, and McCracken and all those other guys, we played them really tough, so we look to build on that this year as well.
Absolutely. I have to give Tony a shout out, my color guy, because he told me week 1 of the season, he's like, watch out for Murray, because nobody's talking about Murray High last year, and you guys, like I said, had a really, really good season. So I got to give a quick shout out to Tony there. He saw you guys coming, I think, before a lot of teams did.
Thanks to Tony.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks to Tony. You guys do lose some seniors last year, 6 total off the roster, but you guys do manage to bring back some of your leading scorers, and I think probably one of the most unheard of players at the time. Grant Whitaker was your 3rd leading scorer, just shy of 10 points per game as an 8th grader last year. And to me, he's a player that can be a big even step up for you guys in the backcourt. You have him if you can get Hunter Utley back and healthy, which we'll talk more about the injury thing in a minute. But a player like that who was already contributing and looking comfortable as an 8th grader, I think he's somebody that, in your back pocket that a lot of teams weren't ready for last year.
Oh yeah, Grant was a huge surprise to the region, not to us because I practiced with him and work out with him all the time, so we knew what he was capable of. And just as an 8th grader last year, he stepped in and played really well and kind of shocked some people. And this year, he's going to make even more of a jump this year. He's been playing on the AAU circuit, doing a lot of good things, and he's been working really hard in practice to get better. But last year, we lost some senior leadership. Robert Kell Strickland, Will Lovins were guys that we lost last year. And so we look for some guys to step up and take in those roles this year.
Sure, and you mentioned Will Lovins. He was a guy who I thought was maybe one of the hardest-nosed, toughest players in the region last year. It's like you need somebody to go out there and just make a dirty play. Not only like make a foul, anything like a hustle play. Somebody to go in there and just bump with somebody and not be afraid to scrum it up inside. He was one of those guys that I think you loved having last year.
Yeah, Will was huge. He was our toughest guy. One of our toughest guys, him and Tommy Waldrop. Will guard the best player on the other team all the time, and he's playing in college now, so kudos to him. He worked hard enough to get to where he is now, and we're going to miss him, but to have some guys are going to try to step up and fill that role for us this year.
Absolutely. You guys were one of the better teams last year as far as offensive efficiency. You guys shot over 50% from the floor, just shy of that 40% mark from the three-point line, and 70% from the free throw line. Those are, I think 3 marks that every team wants to try to hit year after year. So how do you try to maintain those numbers even, or try to improve on them with the players you lost last year, trying to bring some young guys up this year?
Yeah, well, one of the key things is get your better shooters a lot of shots. So we always try to get the guys into the hands of the ball that can make plays and make shots for us. And then we shoot a lot in practice, a lot of extra time guys come in the mornings and at night and shoot shots. So our offensive efficiency was really huge for us last year to win some games. We had an inside presence last year, and this year going to be a little bit different offensively, so we're going to try to still continue to make some shots.
Every team in the offseason seems like they get a little nick injury here or there. That is not the case for your team, as you guys have been. The injury bug would be a little bit of an understatement. Is, you know, you've lost 3 guys off your roster already due to injury, 2 starters for sure, returning starters, and Hunter Utley, the starting quarterback, having the hand injury, and Tommy Waldrop with the broken collarbone. Both came against Mayfield, unfortunately, so you probably have some things to say to Mayfield about things it goes. But with, you know, that kind of puts you guys behind the 8 ball at least early on, and maybe have some younger guys having to get some more minutes in. So how do you want to approach the first few weeks of the season without 2 of your starters?
Yeah, I've talked to guys, you know, for the last week or so since Tommy's went out and told some guys they're going to have to step up. So we're going to play a few younger guys this year. Carter Allen was a guy who going to step up and play some minutes. He was a JV guy for us last year. Lincoln English, he's a freshman that's going to be stepping in and try to fill in that role. And, you know, we also lost Dijon Miles, who was going to be a reserve for us this year. So, you know, some guys have to step up early in the season, and it'll make us better later on in the season when Hunter and Tommy get back healthy. So hopefully we'll have a deeper bench and be able to, you know, play some of those guys early on.
Absolutely. And we talked about a little bit earlier how tough this District 4 is, and you know, some of the other coaches in the region and the district will agree. This maybe 3 of the top 4, top 5 teams in the region on the boys' side sit here in District 4. I think the biggest challenge is that you know coming in that one of you guys are not going to make the regional tournament, despite all 3 of you guys probably being worthy and big enough to make it. So how do you keep your team focused on the straight and narrow to make sure you're one of those 2 teams that make it?
Yeah, I've been telling people all along that our district is the toughest in the region by far, and somebody's not going to make it, unfortunately, you know. And, you know, I try to keep our guys mentally focused and know that we have 2 games, possibly 3 games with each team, and know that it's not going to be one on one possession or one play or one game. It's going to be the team that's going to play, you know, 2 games or 3 games the best, and that's going to be the team. That's 2 teams going to be able to make it to the regional tournament.
What do you see as the biggest obstacle, besides maybe the injury so far this season, to this team making some good strides, maybe winning the region this season?
Yeah, well, injuries, of course, are huge for us right now. That would say right now that's the biggest thing for us. But other than that, we just have to be able to remain focused throughout the year and keep our goals in mind and be able to know that as a team we can achieve more as individuals, and if we can do that, we'll be pleased with the outcome.
All right, Coach, thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the coaches for taking their time out of their busy schedule to talk with us about the upcoming season here in 2019 and 2020. Make sure you follow us on the WK&T Sports Facebook page for all the latest updates, and we look forward to bringing you guys a great presentation of Region 1 basketball here on WK&T Sports.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Kentucky's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kentucky High School Athletic Association and the Kentucky High School Athletic Directors Association.
Creative Interiors has one of the biggest Lazy Boy comfort studios in the area. Over 100 genuine Lazy Boy rocker recliners with prices starting at $2.99. Reclining sofas, love seats, and sectionals in a huge choice of fabrics and leathers. We also have lift recliners or fashionable recliners that don't look like recliners. Get ready for comfort with new reclining furniture from Lazy Boy. Get 1 year interest-free and free delivery. Creative Interiors, Highway 45 north of Mayfield.
Got a big appetite? Head over to Snappy Tomato Pizza on Paris Road in Mayfield. Snappy Tomatoes all-you-can-eat buffet features a fresh salad bar, as well as pizza, pasta, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and dessert. On game day, don't forget the Beast. The Beast is the equivalent of 3 large pizzas. Perfect for your tailgating party with 24 large slices. Dine in, pick up, or delivery available.
Snappy Tomato Pizza.
When it comes to quality equipment that will last the test of time, Bush Hog stands out. Their full line of products include rotary cutters, landscaping and tillage equipment, hay tools, boom mowers, construction equipment, zero-turn and finishing mowers. So if you're looking for an investment and not an expense, Bush Hog will deliver dependability and value. Bush Hog has been serving American farmers and ranchers since 1951.
Bush Hog, available at H&R AgriPower of Mayfield.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
Creating comfort one home at a time. Call the folks at James Smith Heating and Cooling for all of your heating and cooling needs.
Howdy, partner. It's time to buck up and dust up, and there's only one place this showdown ends. State Line Ranch and Home on 641 south of Murray. We have the largest selections of men's, women's, and children's boots, Wrangler, Cinch, and Cruel Girl jeans, all major brands of hats, buckles, bracelets, and rodeo busting gear from saddles to roping and more. We've got new management with the same family hospitality. State Line Ranch and Home, Western Kentucky's largest western store, the best deals and southern courtesy guaranteed.
When severe weather knocks you down, Shelter Insurance is there to help pick you up.
Get the insurance coverage you need at the right price. Call Steve Jones today.